All right, now let's start with a big interview of the day. A couple of days ago, we got you a snippet from the first and the exclusive interaction that we had with Sanjeev Bikchandani on the Zomato Uber Eats deal. In our second edition of that same interview, we are speaking to him about his other portfolio companies like Naukri.com, Jeevan Sathi and others. Along with that, we also speak to him about his startup journey and how founders can reach out to him. Here's the second edition of our chat with Sanjeev Bikchandani.
Okay, so now let's talk about the rest of your portfolio. I wanted to ask you about Naukri. You know, you have some of the best insights into that controversial topic of job creation, jobs. How's Naukri doing?
Well, we are currently have a board meeting on February 12th,
yes.
So I cannot talk about the results.
No, not numbers, but you get insights into the market. Is it picking up, not picking up?
Well, look, I think we've been seeing for the last 2, 3, 4 quarters that there has been sluggishness emerging. I don't think that is going away for a couple of quarters. Now, having said that, it's possible that this time will be a lagging indicator. The economy will recover first, companies recover first, and only then, hiring will go on. So we have to wait and watch.
Can I also just ask you that with the kind of innovation that you're seeing every other day, how do you make sure your portfolio companies stay ahead of innovation?
So look, there are businesses that we own and run in InfoEdge, which is Naukri, 99 Acres, Jeevan Sathi, Shiksha, right? There, our teams are in charge, and then obviously we, our own people drive the innovation agenda. And there's a lot of investment going on, a lot of very, very innovative work going on in the area of AI, machine learning, analytics, big data, in all our internal companies. As far as the investing companies are concerned, each has its own agenda. Now, obviously, we work with them and we talk to them and discuss with them, but that innovation agenda is driven by the entrepreneurs themselves, and it's not as if we are telling them what to do.
Okay. So you don't tell them, you have a hands-off approach?
No, we discuss, right? But let's understand one thing. Finally, a company is run by the management and the entrepreneur of that company, right? You have to give them that independence. Otherwise, people don't become entrepreneurs because they're looking for a boss. Yeah. So we invest, we discuss, we suggest, and that's it.
Do you have a favorite in your portfolio? I know you're not supposed to have a favorite child, but...
So I think each of our companies, when we invest, is a favorite.
Okay.
Okay, now things pan out differently for different reasons. I believe all our entrepreneurs are very, very good. If something doesn't work out, it doesn't work out even though the entrepreneur tried very hard, and we live with it.
But the success rate is not the best, right?
Yeah.
That's not worldwide, that's how it works.
So it is, entrepreneurship is Darwinian, right? Many try, some succeed, not all succeed. And it's survival of the fittest, and we accept that, and we try and support our companies as best as possible through that journey.
In your portfolio company, there are two companies which are dependent on what happens externally, right? Whether it's 99 Acres or Naukri. But you've also got some businesses which are more resilient to a slowdown. For example, Zomato, people will continue eating, they like to dine in, just the way you got nuclear families. And Jeevan Sathi, people are going to keep getting married, right? Whether there is a recession or not. So do you have to hedge it like that as well?
That's not a conscious strategy. That just happened that way. I do believe Naukri is reasonably resilient. It does have ups and downs, but if you look at the last, so Naukri was launched in 1997, right? Yeah. We made losses in only 2 years, in the last 22 years, and that was immediately after we raised venture capital in the year 2000. Since 2002, 2003, we've been profitable. That's 16 years. Okay, so I think Naukri is very, very resilient, and actually Naukri is the business that's generating all the money that is making everything else possible.
Okay. But that's not sustainable, right? Like when we look at TCS and Tata Group, we say that that's the same business model.
Well, actually, 99 Acres is very close to profit. Jeevan Sathi is a matter of strategy when you want to make a profit. We are investing in growth right now. I think Shiksha is very close to profit. Okay. I think some of our investing companies can get to profit in the next 2-3 years. So I think over the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have a stable of businesses inside the company and also investing companies which will be profitable.
There are very few of you who have taken the public route, right? You've done it. Deep Kalra from Make My Trip did it at NASDAQ. You've got Just Dial who's done it. What do you guys talk to each other? Was it worth it? Are you happy?
Yeah, so listen, Deep, I'm on the advisory board. I was on this board earlier. He's an old friend, good friend of mine. Yes. India Mart, Dinesh Agarwal, good friend. Yeah. I think Money of Just Dial, good friend. So look, we meet, we talk. We don't have a club where we meet every week, every sort of month or anything, but we are in conversations all the time. I think those who have gone public are those four of us, I think all four of us believe it is a good decision.
All of you believe it's a good decision.
That's my impression.
But the others are not doing it. Is it because they're not hit profit, or even if they've hit profit, they don't seem interested? Is it a compliance issue?
So
or people just don't understand internet companies?
No, that's not. None of those are true. I think private markets are very different from what they were, 7, 8, 10 years ago, right? And with abundance of private capital, and with private market valuations being where they are, right? Companies can push out the decision to go for profitability and then listing, right? So I think we didn't have that choice. So in 2006, when we went public, we didn't have that choice. We didn't have that kind of capital available.
Okay, you didn't have that kind
of. So the environment has changed.
The environment has changed. That's the biggest reason
I think so.
Okay. I want to also ask you that, when you interview startups, entrepreneurs, investors, from the new economy, it's like wo apni dunya mein, in a parallel universe. They don't seem worried about the GDP growth. They seem, like I said, a parallel dunya almost. Have I got that right?
So I think,
like, you see the animal spirits here, which you don't see in the old economy.
So let me tell you, we in the last 5 years, last 4 or 5 years, we must have made several thousand startups before deciding which to invest in. So maybe we meet 300 and invest in one. Okay, it's that kind of ratio. So we get a fairly good bird's eye view of what's going on and what people are trying to do. So whenever we see somebody trying to solve an unsolved problem, doing something innovative, early mover, first mover, good team doing good work, we get interested. Now, there's enough of that happening. Now, if somebody is doing good work, solving an unsolved problem, he will get his customers, he will get his sales, he will get his traction, right? And that's what we look for. Okay? So really, it's about separating the wheat from the chaff, finding that hidden gem, and then going after it.
Okay.
And then enough of that. And if you find that, they will grow, they will sell, irrespective of the environment.
Because if you look at the 2019 data, the kind of capital inflows you had in the Lal Street, let's say, versus the startups, or even if you look at blue chip companies and all of that, the startups really, really stood out. There is a lot of money that is chasing Indian startups.
So that also has to do with global liquidity, where there's a lot of money available overseas, right? And some of it is finding its way to India.
And WeWorks didn't make people decide differently on India portfolio allocation?
Well, WeWorks has got very little to do with India.
No, what I meant was because of SoftBank. SoftBank had a global reset.
Yes, possibly so, but I think earlier stage money is still available. It's coming in. There is a lot of new capital coming in. Okay. So, for example, you have angel investors now. You have seed funds. You have angel networks. These did not exist 10 years ago.
You're also an angel investor.
A little bit, not a lot.
But I'm now going to ask him to go back in time and tell us how it all started. How did it all start for you?
Well, I quit my job in 1990. I was working in a company that then called HMM, now is called GlaxoSmithKline. I was in marketing. I was handling the brand Horlicks. Prior to that, I had worked for 3 years in advertising in Lintes, my first job. And in between, I'd done an MBA, or a postgraduate diploma in management, actually, to be technically correct. And I quit my job, and I drifted for 7 years doing 100 small things. And in 97, we launched Naukri as seemingly one more small thing. We had no idea where it will go. We just took jobs from newspapers and magazines around the country and put them on the net. And 1,000 jobs, any point in time, were available on the site. We used to update the site twice a week. It was a dial-up access, right, running out of my house. Right? And so very low capital. There was no venture capital, there had no
How much? What is the low capital?
So look, we must have spent 4-5 lakhs, okay, in the first year to build the site and to run it, right? I don't have exact recall, but could not have been more than that because I did not have more than that, right? And traffic began to come. So, the first lesson was that if you're solving an unsolved problem, if you're early, we were the first job site in India, right? And we had a good value proposition that we've got all the jobs in one place, right? And so people came to see them. So you will get natural traction. So that's one of I think the holy grail of early stage internet startups is, are you getting natural traction? Or do you have to spend a lot of marketing dollars to get that traction?
Okay.
If you're getting natural traction, you hit a hot button, you're onto something.
Okay.
Right? So that happened with us. Now, once that happened, we got inbound inquiries from companies saying, hey, we want to list jobs on your site. We began to charge money. We got some revenue, right? So in year 2, we broke even.
Okay.
Right? And that's when we figured that, maybe we should be an internet company. And so we stopped doing everything else, none of the other 7, 8 things we were doing, and said we must focus on this.
Okay.
In the year 2000, in the year 99, we got inbound interest from investors. Now, the dot-com bubble going on in the US, there was dot-com valuation, VCs were looking at India, and we were fortunate enough to raise a small sum of money by today's standards, a large sum of money according to us that time.
What was it, do you remember?
7.3 crores.
That's still a lot of money.
7.3 crores, we got it, and that's the only money we raised till the IPO.
Okay.
So, and we only spent 5 crores of that. So, Naukri was built in 5 crores.
Wow, in 5 crores.
5 crores. We made 2 years of losses and then broke even.
Yeah, like you were telling me that for 16 years in a row, you've delivered a profit when it comes to Naukri.
Yeah, that's 48 quarters in a row.
But in 1997, when you decided to start Naukri, literally like you said, from your home with all the money that you had, the bigger risk was perhaps not the money that you were putting in, but the emotional decision.
So I'd been an entrepreneur for 7 years before that, so I think all that was behind.
You had dealt with all of that.
Yeah. I think the first 2-3 years are crucial, when you're saying, when you're struggling. Then afterwards the struggle, you're taking your stride and you carry on struggling.
You said you will always get organic traction if you are solving a genuine problem.
Unsolved problem, yeah.
Do you still believe that today in this big bad world of social media where everybody's trying to grab eyeballs?
Yes. If you are solving an unsolved problem, if you are early or first mover, if you've got some IP algorithm, some moat, right, you're not easily copyable, right, you will get natural traction and it'll be fine.
And do you therefore talk entrepreneurs out of the door when they come to you for money and they believe they need a lot of money for marketing?
Look, we always like to spend time with them, and even if you don't invest behind them, we like to give them advice that look, don't do this, try this, think of that, here's our feedback to you. We try and introduce them to others. Okay, so we try and be as nice to entrepreneurs as possible. We don't talk them out of the door, but we don't obviously fund everybody we meet.
What is your do's and don'ts for investing? A lot of people want to know this. What gets Sanjeev Bikchandani interested? What are the do's? Let's do the do's first.
So I think look, integrity and commitment of the entrepreneur are really important. I think, are they onto something? Are they getting natural traction? That's very important. Are they early mover, first mover? Is there some IP being developed? Some defensible positions being developed? These are really important. I think it's a difficult one to judge, but early on, can you figure out how this person will be when it comes to attracting a team? Right? Okay. He's the kind of person people will want to work with. So today he's 30 years old and he's got a team of 10, but tomorrow he's a team of 3,000. Can he deal with that organization?
Yeah.
Okay, now these are hard ones to judge, but these are calls you make.
Okay. And the don'ts, what is it that you will see and say, no, Hare Baba, nahi jaunga?
So I think if there's any negative reference or any negative record on integrity and character, I think that's not a good idea to back. I think, so listen, the fundamental principle is that an investor bets his or her money, the entrepreneur bets his or her life, right? So the entrepreneur is not betting his life or her life. I've got 3 businesses, I'm taking money in one. That's a negative signal.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to be all in. This is my only company. If the company goes down, I go down with it. Now, if you're prepared to make that kind of commitment, right, you're at first base.
And will you always only look at internet companies? As an angel investor, I know you look at other things. But
as the angel investor, I don't look at internet companies because I don't want a conflict.
Yeah, as I said, you don't look at it.
So we look at consumer internet, B2B SaaS, some IoT, tech, all in that space. Basically, what's thematically relevant for InfoEdge, where we understand perhaps a little bit better than a pure financial investor.
Where do you see InfoEdge headed?
I think we will primarily be a company that is owning and operating businesses. We also do investment.
So you will stay the way you are at the moment.
Right.
That's the vision.
That's right.
You have no pressure of I have to have so many companies, I have to find the next unicorn, I must have at least so many unicorns.
So you see, we are very, very focused on revenue, cash flow, profit, stuff like that, right? And we believe valuation is a consequence of running a good business. So we are focused on good businesses. Valuation अपने आप हो जाएगी.
Valuation अपने आप हो जाएगी, but वो आजकल ना बहुत inflate भी हो रही है. Like there is this fear that with all the capital that's chasing the startups, and these are not public, so we don't know. These are all private valuations. Do you believe that there is inflation of valuations?
So look, there are always overvaluation and there's always undervaluation. Whether it's a public market or a private market, all markets move.
Yeah.
And markets often overcorrect either on the positive side or on the negative side. Markets are never flat and linear in their growth. So that's something you take in your stride.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah, you've got to deal with it, right? And within that, you figure out, listen, this is a good investment to go in now at this valuation, or it's not, right? Holding is an easier decision, right? So I got into this valuation, it's been upvalued, I can stay for 10 years, it's okay.
You built Naukri.
So therefore, you just focus on the business fundamentals.
With business fundamentals, that's your sign. Stop going for all. So that's coming to the next question.
The only thing is that when you're entering a company, if you're paying a very high price, look at it very carefully.
That should be obvious, but that is the big fear that's coming in, right? That a lot of people are not doing that. It's becoming herd mentality. Mr. Bikhchandani, you just told me you built Naukri with 5 crores. You had losses for only 2 years. I want to ask you this question on behalf of all the entrepreneurs who are tuning in. When is the right time to go funding? And you index that 5 crore to inflation. Is it in today's day and age possible to build a behemoth like Naukri with that kind of capital?
So what I always tell young entrepreneurs is that the customer's money is better than the investor's money. Reason being that if the customer's money is coming, right, it means you have potentially viable business. If it's coming repeatedly, if it's coming at a price that's higher than the cost, chances are you're onto something.
Okay.
Okay. If the customer's money is coming, the investor's money will almost certainly come.
Okay.
Because investors love to invest in business, that's any customer's money. But if you're getting the investor's money, it does not necessarily mean the customer's money will come. Because getting the investor's money is what persuading 2 MBAs across the table with a PowerPoint. Yeah. Right? But to get the customer's money is a lot harder because the customer is unforgiving. He's not your uncle or your aunt. Right? The customer is saying, if it makes sense, I'll do it. If it makes sense, I will not do it. I have options. Right? And if many customers are doing it, that means that you're onto something.
Okay.
So I would say focus on getting the customer's money before you get trying for the investor's money. Number one. Number two, it's always good to raise money when the investor comes to you rather than you going to investors. Okay. Right? Right. So we have always done well whenever we have had inbound interest from investors. We have never done well in the middle, when the meltdown happened in the year 2000. We went out to get next, we didn't get it, right? So if you have to go out to get money, that's not so good as if the investor's coming to you. Okay. So get your company into a position where investors come to you, as opposed to you go to investors. Now, what are those 3 or 4 things that you need to do to get the investors to come to you? First is product, customer satisfaction, repeats, actual business performance. So I would say focus on business performance, building great product, getting customers, right? And investors will come.
So how do you find the companies? How does InfoEdge find them?
We go out looking.
How do you do that?
So some are inbound, some we go out looking. We have events, conferences, research, database. So if you meet a company that's in one sector, we say, okay, there are 10 others in that sector, let's study all of them. So it's a lot of research.
Do you personally meet the entrepreneurs as well? Or
so we have a team. Yes, I meet the entrepreneurs.
That would be for the bigger companies or the higher valuations? Or?
No. See, actually, you see, when you meet young people, right, doing interesting things, it's very inspirational for me also. Yeah. I get new ideas, I meet new people, I feel younger and energized.
How many do you meet in a week?
Must be about 10, 15.
You meet 10, 15 of them in a week?
Yeah.
And you travel all over and all of that?
So I've cut my travel a bit in the last couple of years, but companies come here, we go out and meet them, we have a team.
Is there an art of making a good pitch?
Well, there are some basic principles.
I asked this question to you because you also said that it's always better that investors chase you, right? So when you're chasing them, forget your pitch. They don't have to pitch to you, you should be pitching to them.
Well, it's both. Look, you have to share information, right?
Yeah.
Now, one form of sharing information is called a pitch. But even a conversation across the table is a way of sharing information. Yeah. Right? So, look, a good pitch for a startup, I think you got to be focused. You got to. So what I advise young startups is, okay, you're making a PowerPoint for a pitch. What are the 10 or 15 points you want to get across? Right? So each point should be one headline in a slide. Okay. Right? And then you put 3 or 4 points below to support that. So if you're saying revenue is growing fast, that should be the headline. Okay. Right? So Guy Kawasaki in one of his videos puts it very well. He says, so just imagine that you're presenting a guy in his mid-50s after lunch, when he's had 2 gin and tonics and a chicken biryani for lunch, and he's dozing off, right? If he just remembers your headlines, he should know your story.
Okay.
So in a PowerPoint, your headlines count, and the body just supports those headlines.
And it's something as simple as that.
As simple as that.
And the
See,
first.
because I tell you what, as a startup, you know a lot about yourself and your company. You don't know what to put in, what to leave out. So you end up putting in too much.
Okay.
But just understand the 8, 10, 15 points of your story.
Okay.
Those points should be the headlines, and the pitch should be very simply, the bullet points in the slide should just be supporting the headline.
Can I talk to Sanjeev Bikchandani, the angel investor now? How does that work? How do people pitch to you?
So I don't do a lot of that. Okay. I stumbled upon Wow Momo, Sagar Daryani, at Tycon, Calcutta. He was getting some award.
I have to tell you, this is Wow Momo, everyone takes credit for. You take credit for it, and Arjun Sharma Selexity also takes credit for it. Saying, मैंने discover किया, मैंने जगह दी थी उससे. I'm being honest in this one.
No, okay, so let me put this here. I discovered him for myself, not to, okay? I stumbled upon him, right? And we, he said, come and try my momo. He had a stall there. So I tried it. Now the first thing about foods is it's got to taste good.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, if it doesn't taste good, it's not going to work.
Forget it.
Right? You can talk health well, but but it must taste good. Right? So it tasted good. I liked it. I said this thing can be habit forming. People may want it, and repeatedly. And then I began to speak to him, and then he said, look, I'm trying to raise money, but the VCs are giving me too much. They want me to raise 40 crores. I only want 5 to 10 crores. So then I said, why don't we talk? And that's how he raised his first round, where they brought him to the Indian Angel Network, and Saurabh Srivastava, Ashwin Chadda, and I led the deal, and other angels came in, and he raised 10 crores from Indian Angel Network, and that's how. And now of course there are other rounds that have happened.
So that's the only one you talk about.
Well, I invested in a company called Dosamatic.
So you like food, clearly.
No, automatic dosa making. I like innovation. I like food. I like a few
momos, dosas. Clearly.
This dosa making machine, not dosas.
Okay. Okay. But they make dosas, so you like that.
Yeah. Okay. Then I invested in a company that called Agave India Limited.
Okay.
Which is referred by a friend. This was a company. IIT guy who came back to India after Y2K, said I want to retire in Goa, but he was driving through all over South India and he noticed agave cactus growing in all over the Deccan.
Okay.
He says, why don't I experiment and make the Indian version of agave liquor, which in Mexico is called tequila. Yeah. And he said, why don't I try and make something? And he concocted a brew, and he said this thing works, and he set up a brewery, and or a distillery, okay, and he got a license to manufacture, and he launched a product called Desmond G, which is doing rather well. Yeah. So, it's distributed now in several parts of the country.
So you like to have your momos, your dosas, and your margarita together?
So actually, I'm off alcohol, but but look, I like innovation.
You like innovation. And are you seeing that?
So this was a good innovation, I think. A dosa making machine is a good innovation, I think.
And are you seeing a lot, like,
and with Sagar, in Wow Momo, I was impressed by the audacity of his vision. He said, listen, if somebody can take a patty and put 2 buns on it and call it a burger and make it go global, why can't I take an Indian food global?
And that's his vision anyway.
That's his vision. And I said, that's an inspiring vision to sort of back.
But, that spunk that you're seeing in the entrepreneurs today, would you say it wasn't there, it definitely wasn't there 5 years ago, but do you think it's comparable now to Silicon Valley?
So look, I think Silicon Valley's got a lot going for it. I think Silicon Valley becomes this mecca where there's big capital and lots of talented people.
Okay, let me put it this way: in the eastern part of the world, do you think?
I think there are parts of India that are emerging as very, very good and vibrant startup centers. I think Delhi, NCR, Bangalore, a few other places, right? I think when I see the quality of entrepreneurs coming out today and who are doing startups, I think they are smarter than when I was their age. There are many, many more of them. They are willing to take bigger risks.
They're more risky. They have risk appetite.
They're willing to take bigger risks. There's capital backing them, and they have large, audacious vision. So I think some of them will go out and do very big things.
Sanjeev Bikchandani, with success, there's always failure, but we only hear more about the success stories. Did you have any moments when you had to deal with failure?
So look, if you're conservative, and if you're a coward, and if you're scared the way I am, right? And I have been. Then
You were scared?
I'm very scared. Okay, I'm not a risk taker. I'm one of the most risk-averse persons you'll ever meet.
Okay.
So basically, if you keep your costs low and you're frugal, right? Chances are that you will not go under because you will recover at least those costs, right? No matter how low your sales are. So I think the key is to be frugal early on, and if you're frugal early on, you will make your mistakes, learn the ropes. The cost of failure is low, and you're still surviving to move on. And I think so. Frugality is another value we look for in early stage entrepreneurs.
We know your eureka moments. Do you want to be candid and share with us your oh damn moments, like some mistakes you made where you might have said missed some opportunity?
So listen. I mean, there are never.
Nothing you regret.
No. So no, nothing I regret. But so if you look at the anti-list of companies that we passed, right?
That's what I was coming to.
Okay, they're a large number.
Yeah.
Okay, and we passed them for logical reasons, but they went on to become very valuable. Okay, so
can you share?
So I said no to Ola.
You said no to Ola
in its pre-series A. Okay, I said no to Snapdeal at 28 million. I said no to a PowerPoint of Flipkart without even meeting them. Okay, the pre-series A, all very early, right? And the reason why we said no to all these companies was, and many others, Taxi for sure. The reason why we said no was we couldn't figure out how and when they'd make money. Okay, now if we'd invested, we would probably have made a lot of money, right? So they made very good, successful investment. But our theme is, listen, we have to understand how to make a profit before we invest, and that's what we do. So we're staying true to that theme.